I'm Joseph.
And I'm Nick.
We watched episode 9 of Tyler Perry's Beauty in Black, now streaming on Netflix. This episode is called Blind Rage. Are you excited to be back?
Oh, for more Tyler One-Ply Perry's
foolishness? Well, we reviewed the first 8 episodes of the series on our Patreon. And then I decided to make a compilation of them to put on our YouTube channel.
Mm-hmm.
It's 3.5 hours long. It's one of our more popular videos. So I thought, well, let's come back and do this again.
I think I recorded a lot of those quite
we
drunk.
were drinking.
We were drinking.
Well, you kind of have to be to get through this nonsense.
Oh, my goodness. Yes.
Well, let's just get to it. So Blind Rage, of course, it's like, well, who's going to be mad? Everyone, specifically Kimmie. So from the last time, because we reviewed this, we were late to the game.
You didn't even want to see it. I'm like, let's check it out. Let's take a look.
So it's been like, what, 2 months? Maybe?
Feels like longer, but yeah.
But, you know, it's like getting with an old friend. It just all comes flooding back in. Also, because the narrative's so damn simple.
It is. I did forget about a lot of bullshit.
Did you?
Yeah, because I was like, oh, yeah, Richard Lawson's wife in the coma and the private road. And
wow, I'm surprised because I feel like I really didn't miss a beat when this started. But we know from when we ended last that Kimmie, who's the main character of the series, her teenage sister had been taken.
Sylvie, yes.
By Body and Delinda, basically as leverage against Kimmie.
That sounds like a brand of something.
And so we saw in the last episode of the first part that Kimmie drove her car into Body.
Yes.
So episode 9 opens with Kimmie ramming the car with Body against another car.
Yes, the cathartic image of Body being smushed between two cars while her popsicle hair bounces around on the hood. Yeah, that's a nice image.
Angel stops her and they flee. And we presume Body's dead because she's just laying on the ground.
Well, I don't know. It's Tyler Perry, so death doesn't look like what we think death is.
Well, and we know that with another character in this episode. So we also know from the last part that Charles, the gay brother, his Lamborghini was ambushed, shot up and set on fire on the private road.
Yes.
So in this episode, we see the Lamborghini burning. And of course, everyone's there and they presume it's Charles. And then as the audience, because of course I thought, oh, maybe it's that stripper Charles brought home who took his car, because we know that the stripper robbed him, like took his wallet and whatnot.
Drugged him, robbed him.
And his watch. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So everyone thinks it's Charles. And then at a point, one of the law enforcement agents, who's of course in cahoots with Jules, the head of security for Beauty in Black, he gives Jules some evidence, and it's the watch. Okay. And the watch is engraved. It says to Charles from Varney. And that's when Jules realizes Varney's gay.
The car, that white police officer who is overly gruff and sympathetic in a way that does not make sense. That watch that's in the plastic evidence bag, the car is still smoking.
Oh, he tells the family, we just put out the fire. As the car is actively burning. But, like, as the audience, we could see the car is still on fire.
He snatched that watch off the corpse and put it in a plastic baggie already.
It makes no sense.
And that's where Tyler Perry thought he was slick, because he's like, the ME knows about it, like the medical examiner.
Ugh. Okay, so Kimmie done kill Body. We think Charles is dead in the Lambo. Then we also remember that Rico Ross's character had called an old buddy a judge from the last part. And so now we see that Richard is on the phone with the judge, and the judge is scared. Like, why did Rico call me?
Please keep in mind that this episode takes place at around 5 a.m. and all of these people are totally awake and alert.
Up and at 'em.
Like,
up and at 'em.
And dressed, faces made up, and
hair laid, all of it. Okay. So the judge is talking to Richard, and that's when we understand, because Richard just says, well, you were the judge who helped us do this and that, and we were laundering money through the strip club. And the judge is like, I was just
I was just making sandwiches for him. Yeah.
okay.
This is Tyler Perry laying pipe in a way.
Speaking of laying pipe, we see Debbie Morgan having sex with a young man
named Tony, who's very handsome. But to me, this feels really demeaning to Debbie Morgan.
Yeah.
It is so sleazy and tawdry. And then that scene featured one of the most awkward cigarette lights I might have ever seen.
The entire conversation was awkward.
Yes. And then she makes this man grab her cigarettes after she chastises him for not keeping up with her. And then she's like, oh, get me my phone. There's a bedside table by you. I don't believe that this woman would trust all of her sensitive things.
That entire scene was those two talking about a whole lot of nothing. Yes. And then she tries to explain to this young man about their family's will, and the father had all these stipulations. Why would she be telling this to him?
And then he's suggesting that he go kill Rico Ross, Horace.
And then he tells her, I love you.
He is looking at her like Lakeith in Get Out. He has a face like he is trapped, this man.
Well, and she's looking at him like she's disgusted. Mm-hmm. I just don't understand. And she's smoking cigarettes in bed. and we have to remember, she's saved, sanctified, and Holy Ghost feeling. She is the pastor of her own church, and she's acting so raggedy.
Right. And then it's like she just had crawled off of him, and her, she has an ample bosom, but it's like your bra's on and you're chastising him for not keeping up with you. Okay.
So then we cut back to Kim and Angel are driving, and they're driving this Mustang that belongs to the guy who was supposed to help them stick up Rico in part 1. And Angel's saying the car's not like it's wrecked.
It's not going to make it to Indian Cove.
But the accident we saw was like a minor fender bender at best.
They were
smushing her.
They smushed
and body is basically cushioned.
They smushed a pillowy woman. Yes.
They just like the car they hit didn't even move.
No.
So the fact that the entire engine's about to fall out makes no sense. But Kimmie, her attitude this episode is entirely different.
Oh, yeah.
She's just acting crazy.
We have hit we've hit a new personality.
Yeah, like the dissociative disorder hit. She makes no sense. She's screaming about her sister. We have to find my sister, and Angel's trying to like calm her down. Like, okay, but we need to figure out some things. You killed a woman. Like we have to make sure you don't go to jail. And Kimmie says, I don't care about going to jail.
But how are you going to
just went on a rant about trying to help your sister?
How are you going to get your sister in jail, girl?
How are you going to help your sister if you're in jail?
But again, one of those circular conversation that goes around and around. They say the same thing multiple
times. Mm-hmm. And then at one point, Angel tells Kim, you're the smartest woman I know.
I think we both fell out at that. Like, well, she must be the only woman you know then.
And then shortly after that, he tells her, let's be smart about this.
That is some Tommy Wiseau level of screenwriting.
Oh my God. Then we get a scene with Richard Lawson on the phone with Jules. And all Richard Lawson is saying the entire episode is, my wife is dead. Nothing matters to me. That's basically the entire point of his character this episode is, my wife is dead. Nothing matters to me.
Yes. And he accuses Jules of colluding with Horace.
Which, when you combine that with Kimmie saying, I don't care about anything except my sister, it's like, wow. Okay. So I guess it's going to be a whole lot of foolishness going on.
Mm-hmm.
Kim gets on the phone with her mother,
who looks like her sister,
to tell her, where is Sylvie, my sister? And the mom's like, I don't know. She left. Well, you're lying. I know you're lying. I bet Jules and his people paid you to take my sister. And then we don't know that for sure, but the mom does tell Kimmie, I know that you're not a nurse, because we have to remember that Kimmie had been telling her sister that she's in Chicago in nursing school or working as a nurse. So the mom says, I know you're not a nurse. I know you're selling yourself at a strip club. So then Kimmie goes, oh, so is that what they told you when you sold my sister to them? That mom is so raggedy. Well, it's just unbelievable. I mean, and then Kimmie threatens to kill the mom's boyfriend.
Keep in mind, she didn't sell Kimmie. She just dropped her ass off at a mall.
Right.
So Tyler Mr. Perry hasn't closed the loop on how Delinda and Body made this pact with the mother to buy the sister, if that is indeed what happened.
So Mallory Bellarie is calling everyone saying, y'all need to come to Rico's house. Charles is dead. So everyone shows up.
She's a facilitator in this episode.
Everyone shows up except Richard Lawson, of course.
Mhm.
And someone says he was ambushed in Mallory talking about this goddamn private road. She goes, they would do that on a private road?
Yeah, bitch. It's not. It's not.
This is not Fort Knox. What are you talking about?
It's not a fortified road. Like, yeah, anybody can kind of stray on there and do some ratchet shit, just like you did on your private road.
Then,
Like, what? The private road. Tyler Perry must think that the right outside the zone outside of his house is sanctified. Like, no one could possibly touch my fortress.
then while the family's together, these circular ass conversations that are so nonsensical. She died because they're talking about Richard Lawson's wife and like what happened to her. And then someone says, well, she died before they could make the move. And someone goes,
No, Horace
she's dead?
goes, she's dead. Yeah.
That's what died means.
That's what
She's dead.
she did.
Then you have Debbie Morgan screaming, I was trying to go to God, but y'all just trying to keep me in this low place. I don't think that God's working for you then. If he can't save you from this.
But Debbie came in on this scene being like, I'm here to act now.
Oh my God. Why does this keep happening? Then Roy is sitting there sulking, thinking that his brother has died. He's sulking, saying that he believes that his parents, Rico Ross and Debbie Morgan, wish he would have been the one who was killed. And then this fool goes on to say, I didn't get shit from any of y'all. You're the CEO of their company.
Also, this family has shown themselves to be incredibly homophobic, and Charles
In fact,
is gay.
It seems like Charles got the short end of the stick.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? Yo daddy talks about Charles like he is the dirt underneath his shoe.
Right.
We got that in episode 7 or something.
Mm-hmm.
Why would you think that they favor him when they made you the CEO of the company?
And
when you have no discernible skills.
Why is that the argument? Your brother's corpse is still smoking. Like, why
then Roy goes on to say, you both effing sucked as parents. Sucked. And what does Debbie Morgan do? She throws a knife at his ass.
Dad, with clearly some CGI worked it, and she's like, I tried to, or like I planned on missing, and I won't miss again. Like, okay.
Then for the second time, I think it gets mentioned 4 times in this episode, but during the second time it's mentioned about the will and the stipulations and how if someone is murdered by another family member, then they don't get the shares, but the shares don't get split. What does that mean? So the money vanishes? Like, I don't understand.
Doesn't it just get held up for yeah.
But anyway.
Also, why is there a fruit tray with a knife out at 5 a.m.?
Anyway, you know what I thought? And you had said it too at the same time. Wouldn't it be interesting if this story were about a family member who kills another family member, but they all decide to cover it up because it will affect like their inheritance?
Mm-hmm.
But then I thought Tyler Perry's not sophisticated enough as a writer to make that. So what he's going to do here is ham-fisted, like in halfway through the season, it's like, oh, so this is what we're going to do? Like,
yes.
So we got through 8 episodes of nonsense to get to the, because I will say of all the episodes, this one was the most like lively to me.
It is the most action-packed, that's for sure. But
which I should have probably said in the beginning.
Yeah, there is a way that this could have been crafted, like that. What is the turns of the screw in this? I'm like, oh, okay, that's an interesting take on what this family is doing to one another. But Tyler is, the way it's written, it's like this contract. It's like the 10 Commandments: thou shalt not kill one another or lose thy money.
For some reason, while everyone's at the house, Mallory takes her husband Roy to the backyard, and then she tries to put on this fake display of.
They are so far away from the windows.
But like she's literally saying, okay, I'm going to hug you now.
Because I know your parents are watching. I don't think they are.
Why would they care? They hate their son.
And where's the establishing shot?
And then, where's the establishing shot that like the people are watching her? And then while she's pretending to offer him some comfort, she's saying, like, we need to figure out how you're going to get this money.
Mm-hmm.
And then again, talking about nothing, because that entire conversation served no purpose except to reiterate for now the third time about the will.
But, and again, my memory of the first 8 episodes, you have to remember Bellarie was so pressed that he was sleeping, Roy was sleeping with some prostitute that she was gunning so hard to find out who Kim was.
All she said, who's that bitch? Where's that bitch?
But
what's that song from Hustle and Flow? Whoop, stomp that hoe. Like, that's all she kept talking about. Whoop that trick, stomp that hoe.
So it's like, none of this makes sense, as usual.
Okay, then we get back to Angel and Rain, remembering that, or Angel and Kim, remembering that Kim was saying, we need a new car because we got to go find my sister.
Mm-hmm.
They end up at a chop shop.
And my first thought was like, you have to go through all this to get a car. You're going to you can go to a chop shop and get a hot car, but you can't get out from being an indentured servant to these people.
You can navigate securing a car from a chop shop, but you can't get up from under being sex trafficked.
Yeah, exactly.
Talking about Angel.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Also, Angel seems to have a lot of freedom.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand how this is happening to him. Okay, but a very pleasant surprise, because speaking of me remembering everything, I did forget about one character. Rain is alive. Rain's still in the hospital.
Rain's alive. She's been in there in a while, and they're doing her hair in the hospital, apparently.
Yeah, she getting her hair done in the hospital because it looked nice. And she was, I mean, what did she have? She had a pretty severe, what did she say she had that she was going to die? Like some kind of tumors?
Oh, yeah. I don't remember now.
She said she had something. Oh, no. She had blood clots.
Oh, yeah. The clots were going to get her.
The clots were going to get her.
Yep,
she looks really good for someone riddled with clots.
They were creeping up on her ass.
Okay, then then Rain is on the phone with Kimmie, and remembering that Kimmie's attitude has done a 180. She is acting hard.
Mm-hmm.
And like she doesn't care about anything about getting her sister. And Rain is trying to convince her, like, to calm down. And at one point she says, I know you get crazy. What? God. We already watched 8 episodes. And Kim, the word I would to describe Kim for 8 episodes is sedate.
Passive.
Yes. Passive.
Yes. But now she's suddenly
who's this crazy woman?
The unbreakable Kimmie bitch. Yeah. And then Rain, Kimmie hangs up on Rain, who immediately calls Angel, who's trying to broker a deal with this chop shop employee who has no lines of dialogue, is just gesturing. And then there's another repetitive conversation on,
promise me you won't go to the man's house. Promise me you won't go to the man's house. Promise. How many times does she say that?
And then she tells Angel, like, you don't know how she gets when she gets crazy. I mean, it takes a lot for her to get there. What do you mean it takes a lot?
So being sex trafficked wasn't enough for you to get mad? She goes, when she gets mad, but boy, it takes a lot for her to get there.
Okay.
You were kidnapped. You've been beat up, held under, forced to have sex with strange. That was enough to get you mad?
You've been verbally and physically abused by Roy.
Embarrassed, humiliated. You watched your homegirl get ass shots. Like nothing made you mad.
You let Delinda put you on the floor and demean you in front of all your colleagues, dancing like you're a sad.
Okay. The moment that really took me out is because Mallory doesn't know that Terrell Carter's character Varney is gay.
Apparently not. Yeah.
So,
but Jules does now.
Jules does now because Jules was given the watch with the the engraving on it.
The hot watch, yes.
But while everyone's at the house, Varney's in the kitchen, Terrell Carter's character, grieving, and Mallory comes in and says, "Hey,
Varney, you don't have to be here.
You don't have to be here, but I mean, could you go get a suit?" And he's like, "A suit? Yeah, for Charles." And that took my breath away, because as far as we know, Charles has been burnt to a crisp.
He's a crispy little wing now.
He is a little crispy wing. What kind of suit are they going to put
And all those drugs in his system, I'm sure those helped.
They were an accelerant for the fire.
Burn him.
I just don't understand why she thinks they need a suit for Charles. That flame had been burning since the series premiered in January. I just don't understand why he would need a suit.
There's no way.
So then Varney goes to Charles' house, his very beautiful house, to get a suit. And guess who's there? Charles. He's alive, y'all. So it was the stripper who stole his watch and wallet.
And he's like lurking around like Gollum there.
He is in full crackhead status.
It is by now, it's probably 7 a.m., let's say, by now.
I just don't understand what Varney sees in Charles. Varney is a very handsome man.
Yes.
With an impressive career. He's driving around in a Bentley SUV. I don't know what. It's certainly not the money that he needs from Charles. Terrell Carter could get any man.
I don't know what it would be because Charles isn't even really giving him the time of day as like a lover.
And then Charles is so raggedy. Like, we're all grieving because you were at a strip club and hooked up with some stripper and he stole your car and burned it up. And well, he didn't burn to be fair to the stripper, that car was ambushed by Richard Lawson's people. But
I don't know how that could happen on a private road, Joseph.
These two people do not seem like they would even politely say hello to each other.
Actions speak louder than words, and I think Terrell Carter is probably one of the better actors in this series, but he is not acting like the love of his life that he thought was dead for the past 2 hours suddenly pops up alive and well.
If my significant other, if I thought something had happened to them, and then I find out they're safe, and in fact, they're missing because they were out being raggedy, my reaction would not be sitting on the couch casually.
Yeah, and they're just like
listening to you ramble on about some nonsense.
Well, when Terrell Carter walks
Since everyone thinks you're dead, we might as well finish the job. Like, I'd be so mad. I would be so mad.
When Terrell Carter walks in the house and there's that trophy.
Oh, Charles is he won most ratchetest whatever in Chicago 2 years running. I don't know, but then you said it and I agree. Is this what love is like for Tyler Perry?
Yeah.
Is this a reflection?
Somebody needs to tell Mr. Perry what love's supposed to look like. I mean, it can be toxic, but this is Tyler Perry doesn't know how to do blocking or how to direct an ensemble scene, because when Rico Ross is being confronted with everything and everybody's standing around, we're waiting for Debbie Morgan to, act.
Jules
and Varney are standing there like nothing to do, not in character. For
you know what they look like when you're at like a team building thing and everyone has to go around and give one fun fact about them, and so you're sitting there thinking to yourself, what am I going to say? What am I? That's what they look like.
Yes. Or when you just get done and you're like, whoo, I can tune out now.
Now I can fully tune out. But the episode's called Blind Rage, and they saved that for the end. So Angel was able to secure a car. They got his ass like an 80s Eldorado with a T-top, which makes no sense.
When that chop shop scene is so bad because Kimmie walks away. Angel's on the phone with Rain, and she's like, I gotta go. She don't care anymore. She's leaving. And Rain goes, don't let her leave. It's like, well, don't text her the address to Delinda's yet.
Yeah,
and
don't
she
give
won't
her
know
the
where
address,
to go.
and then she won't go, stupid. But I shouldn't say that because Kimmie's one of the smartest women Angel knows. But they show up at Delinda's house, and this was the highlight of the episode.
Well, for sure.
Because Kimmie is a new woman, and she busts through Delinda's door like the Terminator.
Delinda is at
like Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Delinda's at her counter, full face of makeup, looks like, and wearing a nice yellow tiger print robe, or like a muumuu, like she's and she,
Kimmie breaks in with a shotgun and is waving that thing like, bitch, where's my sister? And they start fighting. And I have to say, compared to the whooping that T.S. Madison gave her ass 3-4 episodes prior, Kimmie really upped her game.
She did. She came in there like Sarah Connor. Where's John?
And they fight. Angel has to break it up. And Angel screaming at Delinda, tell us where her sister is. And we have to watch our language now on these podcasts because they're going to be on YouTube. But Delinda is telling Kim, I'm not going to tell you shit, blah, blah, blah. She's probably getting effed by a bunch of truck drivers right now. And what does Kim do? Take that shotgun and blow Delinda's brains out. While Angel is literally right in front of her. Like, and I don't mean like standing in front of her. I mean like holding her. Like they were effectively hugging.
Yes, and
that was a shotgun, wasn't it? Like a sawed-off shotgun.
His hearing would be not doing very well.
But isn't that kind of gun meant to do a blast?
Uh-huh.
Wouldn't Delinda's head been
Shotgun
blown
blast,
off?
I heard. Yeah, well, we do see a nice
But we
size
see
hole in
her head, and it's
Mhm.
not whatever. Kimmie kills Delinda.
Delinda's got Ursula O. Robinson is checked out.
The
after episode 9.
end.
I have one other note about the scene with Charles and Varney.
Yeah.
And how they don't seem like people that are very much in love.
Yeah.
Charles says, Varney's like, I got to call your parents. And Charles is like, no, let him suffer a little longer. And Varney goes, you're totally insane. And this is like a beat after he just said, I love you.
Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy.
It's so stupid.
I don't even know what predictions to make. I'm assuming next episode, Kimmie's going to end up at Jules' house. I mean, Rico's house. Because that's where she wanted to go at first.
And for some reason, Rain is so opposed to that.
Even though they've already been to that house.
Yeah, like the way that Kimmie describes Horace, Rico's character.
Calling him that old N-word. It's like,
From
what?
The club.
You know his name. He's like famous. Like you Googled him. Jeez Louise. Well, I'm glad to be back. And I can't wait to see what happens next.
I mean, it's just so inept and inane that, I mean, White Lotus season 3 is pretty sleepy. So I guess
this is a nice balance.
I guess it's a nice balance, but this shit is.
It does get my blood pressure up as I'm watching it because I'm just like, this is so dumb.
It's so.
But we can't spend every episode talking about how dumb it is.
I think we're gonna do that because I don't.
Because that's what we did the first date.
I have to. You have to let feelings flow through you, and my feeling about this is that it is.
All done
for the next episode.
Ta-ta.